Before we begin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another Hollywood deep dive. This story takes us back to a time when movie stars appeared superhuman, almost carved out of myth. But behind those bright lights, there were insecurities studios worked fiercely to hide. Height, a simple number for most people, became a battlefield for many legends. Directors shifted cameras, adjusted floors, and staged scenes like optical illusions. Publicists created false biographies to fit the heroic image fans expected. Some actors embraced the tricks, while others fought them with burning pride. In an industry obsessed with perfection, even inches felt like destiny. The truth is, Hollywood magic wasn't always glamorous. Sometimes, it was built on the smallest, quietest battles no one saw. Kirk Douglas, the fierce face of Spartacus, fought such a battle every day. Despite his powerful presence, he stood shorter than the heroic ideal of the era. During the filming of Spartacus, the crew worked in secret to help him appear taller. Extras were positioned in lowered trenches so he could look more dominant on screen. Cameras were tilted to enhance his stature, protecting the film's epic illusion. Douglas knew these tricks were being used, and they struck deeper than people realized. Behind his fiery temper was a lifetime of hearing he was not big enough. The pressure to appear larger weighed on him more than any prop sword. Even when he challenged Hollywood's blacklist, insecurity stayed close behind. He was a man who fought as much with himself as he did with the world. Douglas's struggles weren't limited to sets or costumes. His early years in Hollywood were filled with whispers about his size. During a photo shoot for one of his breakthrough films, he stormed off in anger. A photographer suggested he stand on a box, and Douglas refused with pride. That moment became part of his legend, showing his refusal to shrink or pretend. Even success never fully silenced the voice inside that said he wasn't enough. Yet he still broke barriers that others were too afraid to touch. His courage helped end the darkest political era in Hollywood history. Decades later, audiences rose to their feet honoring him as a giant of cinema. Ironically, the man once told he lacked inches became larger than life. Humphrey Bogart faced a similar battle, but his story unfolded differently. On the set of Casablanca, his height difference with Ingrid Bergman became obvious. Producers feared the camera would expose it, threatening the film's romantic image. A wooden platform was quietly placed under Bogart's shoes before key scenes. The crew jokingly dubbed it the Bogart box, a nickname he hated deeply. He tried pushing the box aside during rehearsals, but the studio insisted. Publicists even exaggerated his height in press releases to protect his mystique. It was a strange burden for a man known for his rough charm and cool confidence. His talent was undeniable, yet Hollywood still worried about the inches he lacked. Behind every iconic shot was a secret only the crew understood. Despite the frustrations, Bogart broke through the limitations others imposed on him. He built a reputation not with size, but with a presence that dominated the screen. Critics wrote that he could fill a room just by walking into it. His voice, his posture, his controlled intensity created an aura beyond measure. Audiences cared about his characters, not the box he stood on. But Bogart himself felt the strain of sustaining that illusion. Even during his marriage to Lauren Bacall, photos were carefully angled. He often joked about Hollywood tricks, but carried quiet resentment inside. To the world, he became the symbol of masculine strength and grit. Yet he was a man, constantly outrunning a reality he never asked for. Frank Sinatra's battle took another form entirely. When his career stumbled in the early 1950s, every flaw became a headline. A newspaper revealed he wore specially made shoes that secretly added inches. The revelation spread quickly, turning him into the target of late-night jokes. While he laughed it off in public, those comments cut deeply. Sinatra, known for swagger and smoothness, suddenly felt exposed. Rumors swirled about his temper, his personal life, and his desperation to stay tall. But instead of collapsing, he fought back with relentless determination. His performance in From Here to Eternity resurrected his career overnight. The little man from Hoboken proved that talent could rise higher than any heel. As the years went on, Sinatra rebuilt himself into an icon of American culture. From sold-out concerts to powerful friendships, he commanded attention everywhere. But those closest to him noticed the habits he never let go. He continued wearing lifts on stage, hidden inside handmade designer shoes. He checked his reflection obsessively before every entrance and performance. Behind the swagger was a man terrified of appearing small again. In interviews, he joked that audiences only cared about his voice. But his insecurities lingered, reminding him of battles long past. Still, no one dominated a room the way Sinatra did. He proved strength didn't always come from height, but from presence. Charlie Chaplin's story unfolded in a way unlike any other star. His small size became part of the character that made him famous worldwide. The baggy clothes, tiny steps, and emotional expressiveness defined his charm. Children and adults alike adored him for his vulnerability and humor. Yet the same qualities turned into weapons used against him later in life. Scandals surrounding his personal relationships shook his public image deeply. Tabloids mocked his appearance, calling him the little man with big sins. Investigations and rumors drove him into exile far from Hollywood. Chaplin's laughter masked years of emotional turmoil and public scrutiny. His height, once a strength, became part of the tragedy that followed him. Despite the controversies, Chaplin's influence on cinema never faded. Scholars noted that audiences emotionally connected with him because of his size. His victories seemed more meaningful because his character always appeared outmatched. He brought dignity to struggle and humor to hardship without speaking a word. But behind the artistry was a man dealing with wounds no camera could capture. The exile changed him, dimming the spirit that once lit up screens. He spent his final years far from the world he helped create. Even after death, his body was stolen in a bizarre criminal act. Police eventually found it, but the mystery added to his legend. Chaplin left behind laughter, but lived a life filled with shadows. Mickey Rooney's journey was marked by a different kind of struggle. At just over 5 feet tall, he became Hollywood's beloved eternal boy. Audiences adored him as Andy Hardy, the cheerful teen who never grew up. For 3 straight years, he was the industry's highest-paid star. But fame built on youth trapped him when he returned from military service. He looked too small, too young, too boyish for adult leading roles. Casting directors marked his file with the same cold words: height problem. The studio system that once celebrated him now didn't know where he belonged. His personal life spiraled, marked by failed marriages and financial chaos. The boyish charm that made him famous became the cage that confined him. Rooney tried everything to escape the shadow of his teenage image. He took dramatic roles, performed on stage, and even reinvented his persona. But Hollywood had a long memory and a short attention span. Jokes about his height haunted him everywhere he went. He drowned sorrow in gambling tables and nightclub lights. Newspapers published photos of him at his lowest moments. Yet he held on to resilience that surprised even his harshest critics. His comeback in The Black Stallion showed the depth he always had. Finally, he played a character where smallness made sense. It was a reminder that talent, when given space, always finds its way back. James Cagney stepped into Hollywood with fire rather than glamour. Though small in stature, he moved with explosive energy on screen. Audiences couldn't look away when he erupted into action. Directors shot him from the bottom up to enhance his force and intensity. Press releases stretched his height on paper to maintain the gangster illusion. Cagney didn't need tricks to command attention, but studios feared the truth. When photographers caught his real size, jokes spread quickly. His temper flared, fueled by years of being underestimated. Rumors even emerged that he considered extreme surgery to gain inches. But he rejected illusions and used raw power to build his legacy. Cagney's performances defined an era of crime cinema. He turned tension into art, using his compact frame like a coiled spring. Every gesture, every shout, every movement carried electricity. He didn't pretend to be tall. He simply acted bigger than anyone else. His Oscar-winning work proved talent could overshadow physical limits. Even critics who mocked his size admitted his impact was enormous. Cagney knew the industry judged by appearance, yet refused to bend. He once told a journalist, "I don't need height, I need heart." Those words became his truth on and off the screen. He forged power through spirit rather than inches. Edward G. Robinson shared the same challenges, but handled them differently. At first glance, he didn't look like the mob boss he played so convincingly. But the moment he delivered a line, the room seemed to shrink around him. Studios still padded his biography with imaginary height to fit expectations. Sets were adjusted to make him appear taller than he truly was. These tricks embarrassed him privately, even as audiences praised his strength. Then the political storms of the 1950s struck hard. He was humiliated publicly and pushed out of leading roles. Friends said the ridicule hurt more than being blacklisted ever did. All he wanted was respect without illusions. These men became legends, but their journeys were far from perfect. They stood on boxes, wore lifts, and fought rumors just to stay relevant. Hollywood demanded giants, even when giants were hard to find. Behind every glamorous poster was a story of insecurity or fear. But their height never determined their greatness, only their spirit did. Today, the industry is kinder, yet the pressure to appear perfect still lingers. Maybe we judge less harshly now, or maybe the illusions have simply changed. What remains is a shared truth. Talent can't be measured in inches. These stars prove that strength comes in many forms, not just physical size. Let us know in the comments, would these legends face the same judgment today?